description of your business, you are on the way to more or less describe the business in a way to we'll just go back into or let's say the description of the business is more or less a level above some sub points. So if you say description of business, it's more or less the level where you define the different part of your business. Yeah, the strategy of your business regarding, for example, what you wrote, the operational environment, the description of your product, which is more or less what kind of a restaurant you want to build up. So the product is a different piece to describe when you describe your business. And of course, you describe your business as a sub point, like you did description of the industry. So you have, for example, 1.1 describing your business. You have the operational environment or your product description. Then you have your target description. So it's a bit difficult when you do the description of your business. It means nearly everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's quite complex.
Yeah, it's very complex. So if you do direction of the business, there are some sub points you can order under this description, like 1.1, the product description, 1.2, how to actually distribute your product, means are you going for licensing it? Are you going to open up all the restaurants under your company, so you own it, or do you do the concept like McDonald's? Yeah, a bit like the guys from the virtual reality. They say I have to B2B and I have to B2C. So then you have some sub points when you describe your business. Yeah? So here you should definitely say that this is your product description. Yeah. You go for high-level restaurants. You stand for traditional food, combining Chinese and Japanese. So this is your product description. Yeah. That means following your product description, you have to define all the other points under it in a way of, where do you have it? Organization, operation.
Well, one more question. Is that also a part of the final exam? I mean, the final paperwork.
Please?
Is this project also counting our final exam?
That is not yet clear, but it will play a role in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I will tell you later on this. Okay. Here, the business is more than the description of the product. Yeah. The description is also then the way of how you organize the product. Yeah, like the virtual reality.
Actually, we should describe more. Describe some detail of the business plan.
For example, because it's a part of the business plan when they say the logic is B2B, B2C. This is also part of this business plan. So describing the business is the product itself, and how do you want to actually organize the product. It's a huge difference if you say, yes, I want to own by myself all the future restaurants, for example. Yeah. So do you want to finance the future restaurants by yourself, or you give the license like McDonald's, etc.? Okay. The industry, that is the same. I ask you as I ask the virtual reality ladies. The market size of Chinese restaurant is not valid. Yeah, you have to go down to your target market, which is, of course, a very important piece to check. Now, you described the target market in the PowerPoint. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You talked about the young people, it's a fancy product, etc., etc. That is, of course, here quite important. But here you need to have figures from your market, the market of existing market of the relevant people who are sushi affine, or the people who are actually today going for the Chinese version of sushi, and of course the number of revenue, etc., which are already selling sushi. So you need to know the sushi market. Yeah, and probably you need to go also, if you look to your services, you need to know about how big or what is the trend within the takeaway market.
Well, that's very common in China, because one of the biggest company offering the takeaway services, we call it Meituan, is already the third biggest digital economy company in China. So they offer
takeaway market share is quite high within the normal.
Yes, it's very huge.
Okay, so that is for you quite important.
Yeah, and they also offer the whole service for the takeaway service. You just need to prepare the food and waiting the delivery come, and the rest of things is basically on their part. They will take all the rest things.
But takeaway, so the delivery service is not that issue for you. It's not common that you deliver food to your customers.
It can be a part of our business in the future, because if you want a startup company, we should I believe we relevantly will rely more on the customer in the restaurant rather than the customer online.
Okay, because the question also with Ray, for example, is always the USP. What is actually the difference you make? The difference, what is the why should they go to you and eat or take away the product, or probably get the product delivered? That could be a USP if you say, no, we deliver the product, or let the product deliver by third party. deliveries. But important are again also the real market description, and the figures. What is my target market? What is the volume of my target market? And of course, you described something about the young people, etc., and that influences, of course, the communication. Yeah. So if you say young people, of course, you are in the social media environment, etc. Okay, the marketing plan. It's you described it more or less very much oriented in the area of what you offer within your restaurant. Yeah. In a way of events, but of course, marketing plan for you, it's probably also the social media environment.
Yeah, that's also can be a part.
Yeah, that is probably important. And think about, I don't know your market, but think about whether a USP could be that you organize a delivery service.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you position the restaurant in a central environment and an office environment where offices are around, then often people in the offices, they don't have enough time to leave the office, etc. And when you do marketing in the companies, then they probably use the service that you bring.
Yeah. For example, we should put our advertising like the Google Map, so people can find us more easily. And also, basically, if there's a office building around, usually they in the near of their place, you can also find some schools. And that's also a big opportunity for us.
Yeah.
Like if you got a university school nearby, you'll get a lot of chance.
Yeah. So that means these are activities and they cost money. For example, a lot of companies here they go to the offices and give brochures and talk about their services or bring some products in the offices and go there and people can try the product, etc. So when you talk about the marketing plan, this is definitely something you should have in the plan, and also, of course, when you describe your business plan. So financially. Yeah, that is always very difficult, as we had this discussion before. I think you know everything now, how you should calculate this, because it looks like that your business is quite expensive. You want to be central, you want to have a high-end environment. You probably quite expensive people, high-end cooks, etc. There you have to carefully calculate and be very realistic. And the other point is, of course, when the guys from the virtual reality, they say, for example, €5 for a course. The question is, where are you then positioned price-wise? So we talk about not reality, we talk about the basic structures. So of course you have to see your costs and your revenues. So does this match? Or you say, no way, I cannot I won't get the revenue, the prices from my customers as I need for my high value, high end product. your restaurant. Yeah, always difficult. Okay, but you know what I mean?
Yes. And should we also make a balance sheet, something like that?
Yeah, you should definitely
Okay.
Do your business plan, but I will show you some slides afterwards just to remind you. Okay, financial plan is okay, but of course it should be part of the business plan. However you organize it, and it suits you, but as part in a business plan is good, because then you always have your costs, your overall costs dedicated to marketing, all your task and your plans, and then you have your financials on it. You also could do in parallel a graph, which very nicely tells us. You remember all these slides where you have your you have here the X, and then you have your investment down, and you go up. Yeah,
sounds like music.
You go up. This is your business.
Yeah,
and then you see, you can do this graph. You tell on what point you need what kind of investment and money. And when you go down in the investment phase, which is quite strongly, you say your triple F money guys, or the seeds, and that is the big investment, is in your way, is the restaurant, the marketing, and the people. It's definitely the very, very important, because when you don't have the people and the quality in the very beginning, it's difficult in this market. It's difficult, and you are not scalable. The virtual reality has a huge advantage. They are scalable. They have a software, they have a server, and then they can sell the product very easy. Yeah, for you it's more difficult. You have to plan also. When I sell so and so many units, or have certain customers and whatever delivery service, when do I need a second cook, or when do I need whatever. You were thinking about a second store, so it's not easy in your case. You mentioned it, but you have to calculate, when do you open up a second shop?
Yes.
Yeah. What does it need to open? Yeah. You can go with yourself and define, okay, when I have 500,000 euro revenue done, with the margin off, then I would go into the next investment. But if you have seed money and the first success with your restaurant, then you would probably need to go to an early investor and say, here, I have a product. This is a restaurant, but I have a plan. I don't want to keep and to remain with one restaurant. I have a strategy to have, in 3 or 4 years, I want to have 8 restaurants.
8.
Yeah, and the question is, how do I actually do this? Yeah, do you do it like McDonald's, etc., where you give a license and not you are investing? The license guy who is having a license from your restaurant is investing in this environment. But this is complicated to realize, so it's not easy. Not easy. Yeah? Because an investor, you only get into such a thing if you scale your business.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have an investor. Yeah, you won't probably have one, but only going for one restaurant or two, it's difficult. Yeah. Okay, production. Yeah, different ways or different kind of productions you probably have. Organization. Organization is a huge point. And when you have these points, you always have to refer actually to your business plan in a way also regarding numbers. Because your organization is not easy.
Yeah, it should be quite complex because for the restaurant the guys especially the main chief is determined.
Yeah, and you have, of course, you have risks. If your star cook is leaving you, then you have a problem.
Yeah, the quality of the food.
So you have some risk embedded in your system, which just to mention that you have those kind of risks that you are and other people are aware of. Yeah. Operational plan. You should probably have a look how to what kind of bullet points you need and use to describe your business. And sometimes, production and organization is very much combined. Because your production plan is referring to the organization, probably it is one point to look at. And very, very important when you do the business plan is your first investments are quite high.
Yeah, that's true.
That is pull. You need to employ your people, your equipment, you have the rent for the restaurant, you have to pay your own salary. And as we have learned, you need at least a 3 months period to have money available to finance yourself and the equipment, because I don't know how it is in China, but here I would say it takes about 2 months or 3 months if you get the break even, if you are in break even situation.
Yeah, and for the high end restaurants, even the time it will be even longer.
Yeah. Then there is the strategy. If you are able to probably compensate the first months with delivery, etc. But this is all theoretically. We both are not in this market. It's just describing what you feel and what you see and what consequences it probably has, also regarding the business plan. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the story. You go back to the fourth century, before Christmas.
Yes, it's I checked a lot of the information and the history, and I find this actually there's an argue about who who invented the sushi else.
Okay. One question is because the Japanese had, I think, twice went into China and brought war into China. Is this a problem when you go with Japanese restaurants or Japanese products?
To be honest, in the history, if you take China and Korea as a united union, it's more than twice. But basically in the ancient time, the whole Korean is not a colony of us, but they pay money for us and we protect them.
But it doesn't. Because of these wars which Japanese conquered China. But that is not a risk for your business.
Well, the risk is if you just talk about the food. Okay, that's quite common because we have the similar things. We're not so against the Japanese food, right? But you cannot directly shows this aggressive picture or even the aggressive Japanese flag, like the not the Japan national flag, but the Japan Army's flag. That's quite dangerous.
Okay. You have young people as a target group. It doesn't make a difference. Okay. What would be the USP in your business? Which is the difference between you and other sushi or Japanese-oriented sushi restaurants?
Oh, one difference is we offer the high-end and different kind of fish, the seafood fish, not just the fish from the river. It just tastes more even more delicious. And the second part is the sushi is the main food, but we also offer another from the what is it called, 前菜? It's just we not just put the sushi in front of you and let you enjoy that.
That means your circle where sushi is running is better separated from the normal table chair restaurant as in other restaurants.
That also makes sense.
Because what I see here is most of the sushis here are sushi bars. Where the circle is more or less 3/4 of the restaurant. But we have only, I think, 1 or 2 real restaurants where you sit down, have a nice atmosphere, and have a real meal, sushi meal. But in your case, I understand you have a real restaurant and probably a bit separate, whereas with less time go to the corner.
But the problem is if you let the customer choose themselves, it may the process is sometimes wrong because we also need to provide appetizers, and some of the, it's not all the customers can take it in the right process. They just directly choose the food they want. And
Yeah. But of course, in this circle, you produce also for the restaurant.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
but as I understood, is if you go for high class, you definitely go for a restaurant style.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. It just so that is your USP, that you say you have a real restaurant style.
Yes.
Okay. That means high price, of course.
A little, of course, the price is a little higher than the, the like the fast food sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
That's kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. But you also have a kind of fast food in a different corner with this cycle stuff. As a typical sushi bar, you will also have what I see.
Well, generally speaking, the so-called bar, the so-called sushi bar is not the point, but our point. Usually if you go to a sushi bar, you cannot see the chief or how he made it, right? You just see, okay, the plate comes.
What I mean is, in the business model, if you have a big sushi bar, yeah, where people go out and in and out and in, and there's a lot of traffic, and then you have a restaurant very close, then the people don't sit down in the restaurant.
Right. That's maybe
too much traffic, and I think it just to, if you think about business model, it's you're not in reality, but if you think about business models, you really have to be very careful that you that if you have an idea and a USP, you really have to go into what is different. What is USP? And when I see your picture, then I see a very long area of the restaurant with this circle, and then I see a few tables, etc., right beside. Yeah, and that is a problem. I think that is a problem if you don't have this more separated and smaller circle. Just to have this in mind. Is it okay when we do a bit longer?
Let me check the time.
Yeah, I just want to give you some slides. No, it's okay. I think you know where to add information and to make the business plan more concrete. Yeah. Okay. Let me check to give you some slides that you can have a look at those. So let's go here. Let's go. So just to give you some hints. Oh, it's the wrong one. So So can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to give you some information.
What happened to this?
I have no idea. I have no idea what this means. Let me just go back. Sometimes the view is a bit different. So, okay. This is just a hint of the customer loyalty management, because I think the guys from the virtual reality were actually about retention rate. Yeah, that's something. When you go your plan, revenue, etc., and you start a business, you also can have a think about or thought about your retention rate. For example, that you have experience in the market from other shops. You are asking and ask, hey, how many people are coming back every week or month, so that you have an idea about retention rate. Yeah. Just to have this graph in a different form, here that what you have to consider also in the virtual or in the restaurant. This is everything what means you make a plan, you have your interior plan, you have your salary to actually do all of this, and then you start investing in everything what you did here is combined in your investment phase. So in this area here and here, you have to look for investors. Probably this part here, and you have the complete plan ready. You have to invest by your own. And I would say when you are looking for one shop in the beginning, it's difficult to get money. It's not easy. And you then have a plan for a rollout to other shops, then you come into this here and you say, investor, I have a shop. This shop works perfect. I'm really having success with this shop. I'm successful. I want to roll it out into a license-based whatever system. So that means you going into a real investment process when you have success with your original first restaurant. You have to show that this concept works, what you are describing. Central position, high value, high end, etc., etc. That you made your first experience and correct your ideas. So that is very important. Yeah. Let me just check. Here, just an overview about regarding the financial planning. Yeah? You go into your basic planning. Then you go into your budgeting, which is more or less, this here is more or less reflected also in your business plan, which is, the business plan is more or less how much money do you need, when, and which costs are running against this budget. Yeah. Let me check. Wrong direction. Yeah, here. What we talked about. That is, in the virtual reality, is this where you build your first prototype. And then you ask for money. And here you see rapid and development. This is your concept of the restaurant, your overall concept and investment need. And with the virtual reality, it is this concept B2B, B2C, or B2B in an extensive way, because it's the first step, and your prototype. Yeah. And then you become a startup when you really start talking to investors. But you have to show something, and then you go. And there you must be realistic with the money you need. And here again, you know this already, it's always the same story.
Yeah, we just repeat it again.
Again and again and again, because it's always very important to have this in mind. Where is it? 65. Bootstrapping, okay. Fundings. Here. Yeah. This is what we talked about. What to offer. What are your promises to your customers? And this is how to make money. And how to make money is always most interesting for investors is scalable business, like the virtual reality. They like this, how to make money with one product or more products, but based on the same infrastructure. And that is then the target group where everything works. That we talked about business model, always the same. Yeah. And here, this is, you know, is from this book when you have this scene on the website where you have the literature available. This is, of course, the extended version. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that in your business it doesn't work, but it doesn't need to be as extensive as at a later stage. Yeah. For example, here, form of ownership. That is, for example, for the restaurant, an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to own every restaurant you're going to have in the future, or you do this McDonald's principle? Marketing plan, of course. Production is then the how do you organize your work, and that's nothing else than, of course, what does it mean investment wise? If you need the machineries and the high end movables and all of this, of course, it makes a difference. Yeah. I think that's it. What I just want to remind you, if you go on and work over your existing PowerPoint and plan so that you can add what we discussed into your current work.
Yeah, I will keep it in mind.
Please?
I will keep it in mind.
Keep it in mind and extend or reorganize your homework.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that you just bring in some views here and there, yeah, and contents, and then we will see next week what you actually improved in this work, and I would like to get this at least on Wednesday. Yeah, so that I have a chance to read this properly. And I think this is our session before the last before Christmas. Yeah, it's the last before Christmas, right? Okay. Oh, but I will write you a mail what we do beside the corrected plans that we work on a next chapter, and I hope I get information about the exam, which will probably be an extended homework. Okay. Everything fine? You know what to do, Ray, Jen?
Okay.
Yeah. If there are questions, send a mail.
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for your work. And then I'm looking forward for next week.
See you.
See you. Thank you. Bye-bye.